Family Affair was more than just a sitcom. It was a heartwarming show that touched audiences with its themes of love, family, and resilience. Featuring a talented cast, the series became a cherished favorite, bringing joy to viewers for generations. However, behind the nostalgia, many of the actors who made the show so special have sadly passed away. In this video, we pay tribute to 38 stars from Family Affair who are no longer with us, remembering their remarkable careers, personal struggles, and the tragic circumstances of their passing. Join us as we celebrate their legacy and honor their lasting impact on television history. Brian Keith took on the role of Uncle Bill Davis in 1966 at the age of 45, embodying the image of a successful, self-sufficient engineer who suddenly had to become a father figure to his late brother's orphaned children. Uncle Bill was depicted as warm yet reserved, struggling to balance his personal life with the responsibilities of raising 3 young children. Keith's career soared after Family Affair, but his later years were marred by devastating losses. His daughter Daisy committed suicide in 1997, a tragedy that shattered him. His marriages, though outwardly stable, were riddled with personal turmoil. His first 2 ended in divorce, and his third, though lasting, was not without struggles. His own health deteriorated with a diagnosis of lung cancer and emphysema, leading to unbearable pain. Isolated and overcome with grief, he took his own life on June 24, 1997, at the age of 75, succumbing to a self-inflicted gunshot wound in his California home.
I was away in Egypt.
I was in Turkey, and you wrote and told me that she needed a mother image. Now, that is not me. I am a bachelor, remember?
Bill?
Anissa Jones became the heart of Family Affair as Buffy Davis in 1966 at just 8 years old, bringing a radiant innocence to the screen with her signature Mrs. Beasley doll. Buffy was cheerful, affectionate, and a symbol of childhood purity, but Jones' real life was a stark contrast. Trapped in the image of a child star, she was unable to transition into adult roles and faced crushing rejection from Hollywood. Her family life was deeply fractured, her parents divorced, and she was caught in a bitter custody battle. The pressure led her to drop out of high school, turning to drugs as an escape. By the time she was 18, her life was spiraling out of control. On August 28, 1976, she attended a party and ingested a lethal mix of cocaine, PCP, Quaaludes, and barbiturates. Her young body could not withstand the overdose, and she was found dead the next morning. At just 18, the sweet girl America adored had become another tragic casualty of Hollywood's merciless industry.
Oh, when are you coming back?
I really couldn't.
Heather Angel brought grace to Family Affair in 1966 at 57 as Miss Faversham, a gentle and warm presence in the lives of the Davis family. She had been a Hollywood starlet in the 1930s and 1940s, but behind the silver screen charm lay a life riddled with suffering. Her first husband, actor Ralph Forbes, left her for another woman, leaving her devastated. In 1964, she remarried director Robert B. Sinclair, but happiness remained elusive. On January 4, 1970, an intruder broke into their home and stabbed Sinclair to death while Angel was helplessly locked in another room, forced to listen to his screams. The horror of the event haunted her for the rest of her life. Though she continued working, the joy she once found in acting had faded. Cancer took hold in the 1980s, and after a long, painful battle, she passed away on December 13, 1986, at the age of 77, forever marked by the brutal tragedy she had endured.
Mr. French, your little girl seems to be getting the better of my little boy.
Sebastian Cabot graced Family Affair as the dignified butler Mr. Giles French in 1966, at the age of 48, portraying a refined, no-nonsense yet secretly soft-hearted guardian to the Davis children. His career spanned decades, lending his deep, authoritative voice to numerous projects, but behind the poised exterior, Cabot suffered from severe health struggles. Weight issues plagued him throughout his life, leading to diabetes and heart problems. His marriage to Kathleen Rose Humphreys was steady, but his declining health put immense strain on his personal life. By the late 1970s, his condition worsened, forcing him to withdraw from Hollywood. His once commanding presence diminished as his body weakened. On August 23, 1977, at just 59 years old, he succumbed to a massive stroke, a tragic end for a man who had spent his life exuding strength and sophistication.
Wednesday, the races at Aqueduct with Miss Carstairs. Wednesday night, optional. The theater with Miss Davenport.
Karl Lukas played the good-natured Scotty in Family Affair in 1966 at the age of 47, bringing humor and warmth to the series. While his character was jovial and kind, Lukas faced relentless struggles off-screen. A character actor who never quite reached leading man status, he worked tirelessly but never achieved financial security. He married, but the union was troubled, strained by financial stress and the constant uncertainty of the acting world. By the 1990s, his health was in rapid decline, and the industry that once embraced him had all but forgotten him. Alone and struggling with heart disease, he succumbed to heart failure on January 16, 1995, at the age of 75. His death went largely unnoticed, another talent lost in Hollywood's ever-turning cycle, remembered only in the faded memories of the show that had once given him purpose.
Right.
Well, Mr. Bill Davis is a tenant, isn't he?
Mr. Davis? Sure.
This is his horse. Now.
John Williams took on the role of Nigel Niles French in Family Affair in 1967 at the age of 64. As the brother of Mr. French, Niles was just as devoted to his profession, exhibiting an almost obsessive precision in his duties. His character was defined by a quiet dignity, unwavering loyalty, and an air of reserved elegance that made him a natural complement to his brother. Williams was a seasoned actor with a career spanning decades, known for his work in classic films such as Dial M for Murder, 1954, and Sabrina, 1954. However, behind his polished exterior lay a life marred by loneliness and missed opportunities. Despite his success, he never married and had no children, a choice, or fate, that left him profoundly isolated in his later years. He was plagued by declining health and struggled with depression as his once flourishing career dwindled. On May 5, 1983, he passing away alone at the age of 80, succumbing to heart disease.
Mr. French, would you play catch with me?
I'm sorry, Jody. American baseball is not my cup of...
Joan Vohs embodied the warm and nurturing Miss Cummings in Family Affair in 1966, when she was 39 years old. Her character exuded kindness and maternal instinct, a stark contrast to her own troubled reality. Vohs began as a model before transitioning into Hollywood, where she starred in films like Knights of the Round Table, 1953. Despite early success, she struggled to maintain a foothold in an industry that valued youth above all else. She married architect John G. Stevens, and together they had 2 children, but domestic life was anything but peaceful. Financial stress and the pressures of fading stardom led to tensions at home, culminating in emotional distance and unspoken regrets. Vohs quietly battled health issues in her later years, her heart weakening with time, mirroring her dwindling presence in Hollywood. On June 4, 2001, she suffered heart failure at the age of 73.
Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, and British Honduras, and Costa Rica.
Very good, but you left one of them out. Do you know?
Nancy Walker brought her effervescent energy to Family Affair as Emily Turner in 1970 at the age of 48. Her character was lively, humorous, and full of zest, a reflection of Walker's own spirited nature. A beloved comedic actress, she gained fame through Macmillan and Wife and the Mary Tyler Moore Show, yet despite her talent, she often found herself boxed into typecast roles. While her career remained steady, her personal life was fraught with challenges. She married musician David Craig, and though they stayed together, their relationship was frequently tested by her demanding career and long absences. The biggest tragedy of her life came in the form of her health. She was diagnosed with lung cancer in her late 60s, a devastating blow to a woman who had spent her life making others laugh. The illness progressed rapidly, robbing her of her trademark energy and reducing her to a shadow of her former self. On March 25, 1992, she passed away due to succumbing to the disease at the age of 69.
Offices in the daytime is that much different?
You can do something else, can't you?
Sure.
Betty Lynn portrayed the warm-hearted Miss Lee in Family Affair in 1966 at the age of 40. Miss Lee was a gentle and nurturing presence, always willing to lend a helping hand. In contrast to her on-screen persona, Lynn's personal life was marred by loneliness and heartbreak. Despite her beauty and talent, she never married, citing a deep mistrust of men after a failed engagement that left her emotionally scarred. She had once believed in love, but after being betrayed by someone she trusted, she chose solitude over the risk of further pain. Her career was steady but uninspiring, never quite reaching the heights of her contemporaries. While others around her basked in fame and success, she often found herself typecast, struggling for meaningful roles as she aged. In her later years, she lived a reclusive life, battling health issues in silence. She passed away on October 16, 2021, at the age of 95, after a brief illness.
Have you got any sisters?
One.
How old is she?
15.
William Boyett took on the role of Pete in Family Affair in 1967 at the age of 40. Pete was a steadfast, hard-working man, embodying loyalty and dedication in every aspect of his life. Boyett's career spanned decades, but despite his numerous television roles, he was often overshadowed by bigger names, struggling to find leading roles that matched his talents. The disappointment of never becoming a household name weighed heavily on him, leaving him in a state of perpetual frustration. His personal life was equally troubled. His marriage to Joan Amelia Reynolds, though lasting, was far from idyllic, plagued by his long absences due to work and unspoken tensions that left deep emotional scars. The couple had children, but his demanding career often kept him away, creating a rift he never fully mended. He died on December 29, 2004, at the age of 77, succumbing to complications from pneumonia and kidney failure.
1700 under on a high-rise.
How can a guy cut so close so often?
See, they're amazing.
Sarah Selby played the caring Miss Bryant in Family Affair in 1966 at the age of 61. Miss Bryant was the epitome of warmth and support, always offering comfort to those around her. In stark contrast, Selby's life was filled with pain and sorrow. Though she had a long career in television and film, she was often relegated to minor roles, never receiving the recognition she deserved. She had been married, but the union ended in quiet disillusionment, leaving her with a sense of loneliness she never managed to shake. She had children, but estrangement clouded their relationships, with years of misunderstandings and emotional distance preventing reconciliation. The last years of her life were marked by a relentless battle with cancer, a fight she faced mostly alone. Her death on January 7, 1980, at the age of 74, was the final chapter in a life that had been filled with silent suffering.
Would it be possible for them to attend both, madam?
No, I'm afraid not. Let's take a look at the afternoon session.
J. Novello brought life to the character of Tio Dichoso in Family Affair in 1969 at the age of 65. Tio Dichoso was full of energy and joy, providing lighthearted moments to the show. Yet, Novello's real life was marked by unrelenting hardship. He had spent decades working in Hollywood, but as he aged, roles became scarce, and financial struggles mounted. Though married to Patricia Kaysen, their relationship was marred by periods of separation and emotional distance. They never had children, leaving Novello with an overwhelming sense of loneliness. His later years were spent battling illness, with cancer slowly draining his strength. The pain was excruciating, and the knowledge that his career had faded into obscurity only deepened his suffering. He passed away on September 2, 1982, at the age of 78, his final days filled with agony and regret, a stark contrast to the jovial characters he had once portrayed on screen.
so. Oh, dear Dichoso, I'm so glad to see you.
Senor French, que sorpresa, que sorpresa.
Dear Dichoso, I mean...
Nora Marlowe stepped into the role of the second nanny in Family Affair in 1966 at the age of 51. The character was responsible and attentive, dedicated to the well-being of the children in her care. Marlowe's own life, however, was far less stable. She had a modestly successful acting career, but the fleeting nature of Hollywood meant she was often unemployed, struggling to find work in her later years. Though married to James McCallion, their life together was often strained by financial difficulties and the insecurity of the acting profession. They had no children, leaving Marlowe with an overwhelming sense of emptiness. She suffered from severe depression, a condition that worsened as roles became scarcer and the industry moved on without her. She died on December 31, 1977, at the age of 62, the official cause of death undisclosed, but many believed she had suffered from a prolonged illness.
Go play or something. Go.
Mr. French, you can deny it till you're blue in the face. But today...
Erin Moran played the cheerful and spirited Amy in 1970 at the age of 10, a role that showcased her youthful charm and boundless energy. Amy was an innocent and lively child, full of curiosity and warmth, bringing a sense of joy to the Davis household. However, outside of Family Affair, Moran's career took a tragic turn. Though she found success in Happy Days, fame was fleeting, and she struggled to find steady work. Typecast and discarded by Hollywood, she faced financial ruin and was eventually evicted from her home. Her personal life was marred by turmoil, her marriage to Stephen Fleischman was fraught with hardship, and the couple lived in a trailer park after falling into extreme poverty. Depression and alcohol took their toll, isolating her from former friends and colleagues. Health problems plagued her final years, and in 2017, she was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer. She died on April 22, 2017, at the age of 56.
Sure. Then how can there be a tidal wave? Gee, that sort of makes sense.
Benson Fong took on the role of the wise and respected Eng Ho in 1968 at 52, bringing a sense of quiet dignity and intelligence to the show. Eng Ho was a guiding figure, offering wisdom and stability. Fong himself had a long career, appearing in numerous films and television shows, but despite his success, he constantly faced discrimination as an Asian American actor in Hollywood. Though he built a chain of restaurants outside of acting, his artistic ambitions were repeatedly stifled by an industry unwilling to give him complex roles. Personally, he endured struggles behind closed doors. His marriage to Melia Fong, while lasting, was not without difficulty, as his career instability and racial barriers took a toll on his self-worth. A stroke in his later years left him weakened, robbing him of his independence. On August 1, 1987, he suffered another severe stroke that ended his life at the age of 70, his legacy largely overshadowed by the industry's continued neglect of his contributions.
He says he's Uncle Bill's first son.
Not first son. Number 1 boy. Head servant.
Ah, yes, and if you'll excuse me.
Lynn Borden graced the screen as the sophisticated and elegant Marcia in 1967 at the age of 30, a character exuding poise and charm. Off-screen, Borden's life was far less polished. Though she worked steadily, she never achieved leading lady status, struggling against an industry obsessed with youth and fleeting beauty. A brief marriage in her early career ended in heartbreak, and while her second marriage to Roger Burnell lasted until her death, the couple faced financial troubles, forcing them into a modest lifestyle far removed from Hollywood's glamour. Health struggles plagued her later years, with a prolonged illness weakening her body and spirit. By the time she died on March 3, 2015, at the age of 77, she had long retreated from public life, slipping away quietly, her once bright presence dimmed by the harsh realities of an unforgiving industry.
And 16 policemen chased a purple alligator up a flagpole. And you should never drink water out of the Mississippi River on Friday.
Del Moore brought humor and wit to the role of Eric Langley in 1967 at the age of 51, delivering charm and comedic timing that made him a beloved presence. Known for his work alongside Jerry Lewis, Moore had a career spanning radio, television, and film, but he was never able to break out of the sidekick mold. His professional frustrations led to excessive drinking, which created tension in his personal life. Married with children, he struggled to balance family life with his unsteady career, often feeling like a failure. Health problems began to surface in his early 50s, and his drinking habits only worsened his condition. On August 30, 1970, he suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and died suddenly at the age of 54. His death was a shock, leaving behind a grieving family and a career that, despite its promise, never reached its full potential.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
It's nice to meet you. Hey, I'll take your coat. What kind of music would you like, Buffy?
The Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy.
She does her buttercup number to that.
Yeah.
Richard Bull portrayed the diligent and organized manager in 1967 at 43, bringing a meticulous and professional presence to the role. Though he later gained fame as Nels Olson in Little House on the Prairie, much of his early career was marked by struggle, with countless minor roles that never led to true recognition. His marriage to actress Barbara Callentine lasted a lifetime, but their inability to have children weighed heavily on them, leaving an unspoken sadness in their home. As he aged, health complications mounted, and he was eventually placed in an assisted living facility, where he spent his final years in fragile health. The once busy actor, who had spent decades on set, was now confined to a quiet and lonely existence. On February 3, 2014, at the age of 89, he died from pneumonia, his passing largely overshadowed by more famous contemporaries, a quiet departure from the world he had spent his life entertaining.
An elephant. The next thing you know, one of the other tenants is going to want permission to bring in a giraffe.
That's your final word?
Absolutely, Mr. Davis.
Dennis Olivieri played the lively Danny in 1967 at the age of 20, bringing youthful energy and charm to the screen. Danny was an exuberant and carefree character, injecting a sense of fun into the show's more serious moments. Unlike many of his co-stars, Olivieri's career never flourished beyond his early successes. He transitioned into a brief music career, releasing an album that failed commercially, leaving him disillusioned. His personal life was equally troubled. He struggled with his identity in an era when being openly gay in Hollywood was almost unthinkable. Though he found fleeting love, his relationships were often short-lived due to societal pressures and his own emotional turmoil. He turned to substance abuse as a means of escape, and his health suffered from years of self-destructive behavior. Diagnosed with cancer in his 50s, he spent his final years in relative obscurity. He passed away on September 27, 2006, at the age of 59, losing his battle with the disease.
But you don't have to go all the way to Connecticut with them. Stay here. We could get married.
Oh, Danny, you're talking...
Laurie Main played the refined Mr. Edgemont in 1968 at the age of 46, embodying a character of elegance and upper-class sophistication. Mr. Edgemont brought a dignified presence to the series, adding a touch of aristocratic wit. Main, best known as the narrator of Welcome to Pooh Corner, had a long but underappreciated career, often relegated to minor roles that failed to showcase his full talent. His personal life was marked by loneliness. Never married and without children, he spent much of his life devoted to his craft, yet he never found lasting companionship. As the years passed, he withdrew from the industry, living a quiet and reclusive life, far removed from Hollywood's fast-paced environment. His declining health, compounded by years of smoking and stress, led to a slow physical deterioration. Though he had friends in the industry, he remained largely alone in his final days. He passed away on February 8, 2012, at the age of 89.
I frequented a pub called the Crown and Pickle.
Well, then you should certainly bet on it.
Rather. You know, of course you won't win very much. Lady Marchwood.
Ida Lupino played the aristocratic Lady Marchwood in 1969 at the age of 51, portraying a woman of grace and quiet dominance. Off-screen, Lupino was a pioneering actress-turned-director, one of the few women behind the camera in Hollywood's golden age. Despite her achievements, she faced constant battles against sexism, dwindling opportunities, and financial instability. Her personal life was equally troubled. Her 3 marriages, including one to actor Howard Duff, were plagued with infidelity and emotional distance. Their daughter, Bridget, struggled with severe mental health issues, leaving Lupino heartbroken and feeling helpless. In her later years, alcoholism and illness took their toll, isolating her from friends and colleagues. She spent her final days in frail health, overshadowed by the industry she once helped reshape. On August 3, 1995, at 77, she died from a stroke while battling colon cancer, her legacy nearly forgotten by the very Hollywood she had fought so hard to conquer.
You're on television.
Oh, that must be this morning's interview. I was on tape, but I'm here in person now. But Jody.
Louise Latham played the caring Fran Heiger in 1966 at the age of 44, embodying a warm and maternal presence on screen. Fran was a nurturing and supportive character, always offering guidance and kindness to those around her. Latham was best known for her chilling portrayal of Bernice Edgar in Marnie, yet despite this early career triumph, she never became a household name. She worked consistently in television but never achieved true star status, often taking roles that offered little recognition. Her personal life was plagued by sorrow. Her marriage to a fellow actor ended in a bitter divorce, and she never remarried. She had one daughter, who became estranged from her due to conflicts over Latham's demanding career. In her later years, she suffered from memory loss, likely the onset of dementia, and was placed in an assisted living facility where she became increasingly disconnected from reality. She passed away on February 12, 2018, at the age of 95.
Buffy, that's not very nice.
Oh, it's all right, Bill. Buffy and Harold didn't get along. But Buffy, Uncle Harold has changed a lot of...
Michael Blodgett played the charming Mike West in 1970 at 31, a role that highlighted his good looks and charisma. However, Hollywood proved unforgiving, and despite a promising start, his acting career stagnated. Frustrated with the industry, he turned to screenwriting, but even there, success was fleeting. His personal life was no less tumultuous, for marriages ended in bitter divorce, leaving him disillusioned with love. He had children, but his relationships with them were distant, and as time passed, he withdrew from family and friends. As his youth and beauty faded, so did his relevance in Hollywood, leading to years of financial and emotional instability. He spent his later years in relative obscurity, struggling with health issues. On November 14, 2007, at 68, he suffered a fatal heart attack, dying alone, largely forgotten by the industry that had once celebrated him.
You can see it from the road.
From the road?
Yeah.
Then what are we doing here?
Hey, you're the one that wanted to go.
Irene Hervey played the strict Miss Scranton in 1968 at the age of 59, portraying a stern, no-nonsense character who commanded discipline and order. Unlike her rigid character, Hervey had been a Hollywood beauty in her youth, starring in glamorous roles during the golden age of cinema. However, her career was frequently overshadowed by male leads, and she was often typecast in supporting roles, never quite achieving leading lady status. Her personal life was equally challenging. Married to actor Alan Jones, their relationship was rocky, filled with constant fights and emotional distance. Though they had a son, singer Jack Jones, Hervey struggled to balance motherhood with her fading career, and she spent much of her later years feeling disconnected from both. A serious car accident in 1943 left her with long-term injuries, limiting her mobility and prematurely ending her film career. On December 20, 1998, she died of heart failure at the age of 89.
The Notre Dame fight song.
We'll start a little more simply. Now, the boys may listen, and the girls will sing the first song. Page 20.
Peter Duryea portrayed the dependable Jim Turner in 1971 at the age of 32, embodying a character known for his strength, loyalty, and unwavering dedication. Duryea, the son of famed Hollywood villain Dan Duryea, struggled to escape his father's shadow throughout his career. Despite some success in film and television, he never quite established himself as a leading man, and the pressure of living up to his family name weighed heavily on him. His personal life was marked by instability. Though he married, the relationship was troubled, and he eventually separated from his wife. He had children but rarely spoke about them publicly, leading many to believe his family life was strained. As acting opportunities dwindled, he turned to a quieter existence in Canada, working as a conservationist, but the isolation took its toll. In his final years, he struggled with health issues, though he kept the details private. On March 24, 2013, he passed away at the age of 73 from undisclosed causes.
My mother thinks more of you than anyone else in the whole world, Mr. Davis.
She's pretty strong on you, too.
She told me about Sissy, but I have a feeling there's...
Carleton Young played the knowledgeable and composed Dr. Perry in 1967 at the age of 62, portraying a respected figure who offered wisdom and stability. A veteran character actor, he appeared in numerous films and television shows, but never attained stardom, often overshadowed by bigger names. His personal life was riddled with difficulties. Married 3 times, he endured 2 painful divorces and became estranged from his only son, who refused to speak to him for decades. Financial troubles plagued him in his later years as acting opportunities dwindled, forcing him to live modestly. He suffered from chronic lung disease, and as his health deteriorated, he withdrew from public life, spending his final days in seclusion. On November 7, 1994, at the age of 89, he passed away from pulmonary emphysema, his death receiving little notice, a quiet end to a long but often overlooked career. Who is your favorite character in Family Affair? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.